There is a fifth dimension beyond what is known to man. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You've just crossed over into the box score zone.
So I said to the waiter, I said, I like my pasta the way I like my medieval Italian literature, al dente.
We need a whole lot more of you and a whole lot less than... What do you want?
Nothing.
All right, well, you're interrupting. So what I'm thinking is, how about a kale salad? We want some Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah. We are like Cersei and Jaime Lannister.
Hell yes. Love it.
A world turned upside down. Mr. Patrick O'Connor, husband, father, Danette, perplexed by a friendship that cannot possibly exist in a nightmare that feels all too real. And on a day not dissimilar to this one, and on a channel very similar to the one you're currently watching, the box score starts now.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Collins for box score.
Hello and welcome to Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles. They are the Danettes in Milford, Connecticut. Guys, the World Series starts tonight. It is my Royals versus the Mets. Now, people may think this is a bit milquetoasty of a World Series, but let me ask you, McLovin, what is the greatest World Series of all time?
Matchup or series like in
Well, the
retrospect?
Phillies lost a famous one to the Blue Jays, which was great. I actually going to put the Red Sox-Mets with the Bill Buckner up there as the most exciting World Series I've ever seen personally.
Yeah, that's probably the best one I've ever seen, too.
Yeah.
Although, Kirk Gibson.
Yeah. One that I liked that was kind of sneaky, it was Reds, A's, and you had the Nasty Boys with Dibble, Charlton, and Myers going against Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco. That seemed like somebody was going to beat the crap out of somebody at some point.
Well, is that because you worked with Dibble, though?
That was way
give you
before.
any...
That was a decade.
But do you look back on it? Because I saw that...
Possibly.
I saw a documentary on them. I'm like, wow, these guys used to work with Rob Dibble.
It is weird. I remember my first day at ESPN, when I was interviewing, there's Dibble in wearing those tight coaches shorts and a tight T-shirt, walking around outside smoking a cigarette. I didn't know he worked for ESPN. I'm like, hey, that's the former Reds maniac. It's like, he works here? So.
And what about Yankees-Dodgers, though, where Reggie Jackson stuck his head out, knocked the ball, and then Reggie hitting the home runs on 3 consecutive pitches? There's something about the Yankee-Dodger World Series was pretty awesome.
We will see if the Royals and Mets measures up to all these. A guy who wishes he was managing in Game 1 tonight, a friend of the show and a former Dodgers manager, Don Mattingly, called in today and talked about parting ways with his former employer.
I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish, but we haven't had the success in the postseason that a major market kind of demands. And at some point, I think it says, hey, let's move a little bit different direction. And I think it's just the right thing. You know, there's a lot of noise around me, which is a distraction from the team and what guys are trying to do. Andrew and Farhan, a new regime coming in and have their way of doing things. So I just think it seems like everything kind of, the momentum was going towards, a nice, again, mutual agreement to this was the best for both guys.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, and I love Don. I'm not saying he's lying, but I will say that I don't think anything's ever 50-50 right down the middle as far as the parting ways. I think it's convenient from a PR standpoint because it would have caused a lot more attention and a lot more media going after everybody with whether it's Don Mattingly, stepping down, resigning, or getting fired. So the parting of the ways thing sounds convenient. It was great that Don came on literally the day after flying to Miami to look into the Marlins job. But it would be great to be a fly on the wall and see exactly what the conversation was like, whether it was testy or not, or just what was said. But for it to be just a mutual parting of ways and for it to have been that simple, for me, is a little difficult to believe. That I think it's got to lean one way.
That being said, why would he lie about it then? Why would he cover for the Dodgers? Because I don't see...
Well, all right, so I've spent a lot of time thinking about, all right, so what does this really mean, right? But couldn't a mutual parting be, all right, yeah, Don's obviously not walking in there that day and being like, hey, I quit. And they're like, oh, you're fired.
Right.
Right? But I guess is it like this... easy way to say like, yeah, like we both agree it wasn't working.
No. I think
that's a part. Like, yeah, it's mutually. Like, we both agree it's not working.
I think they fired him, but they want to make him look good, and he bought into. But possibly, actually, maybe like this is a way to fire him without looking like you fired him.
And also, it makes both sides more employable and better to work for. Like,
exactly.
If I see that I'm going to be treated fairly on my way out someday, probably get a great buyout. Believe me, Don Mattingly set for life by the Dodgers. The Dodgers may become more attractive as an employer.
Yeah.
Don Mattingly, as long as he doesn't firebomb the Dodgers, can walk into probably one of 4 jobs.
Yeah, like he's got job. You know, it's not like
in
he
the
was.
moment though, I could see the meeting being like, Don, we could agree that this wasn't where we thought we'd be at this point. The tone of the conversation, I bet, was like, Don knew.
And how do we handle this to make everybody, go about it being, everybody goes about their business without it being something that sounds as harsh as we got rid of you or you walked away and gave up after 5 years?
Brock, how'd that work out for you when you got fired?
Well, let me see. The last time I got fired, it was I said something off color to someone who was having relations with the vice president. So it worked out all right. Wow. I think I collected unemployment for the first time in my life and played a lot of golf for 3 months. I miss you, Colorado. Well, back to the subject at hand, baseball managers. See, let me ask you this. Does a baseball manager really affect its team's chances of winning?
Man, that's an interesting question. Yes. Right? I mean, like, all right, there's got to be a certain amount of strategy that goes into the game. There's situational things. I think the manager, this is going to sound kind of dumb to say, but they have to manage the talent, which is probably 70% of the job, I would guess. Right. I mean, you see people struggle with that kind of thing all the time. So, yeah, I mean, I think that it is important.
It seems to me like a manager would be like, in baseball, is like a first grade teacher. You're going to teach them math. You're going to teach them English. You're going to teach them a little stuff. You're not going to go freestyle and come up with new things and new math and new writing. Right. There's some things you do. You're trying to keep that room under control and get to the end of the year. Right. That seems like a first grade teacher. It's pretty perfunctory, everything you do.
All right, Paulie, you have to remove Chicago teams and any big words from this, actually, from the mix. But which baseball teams would you want to manage?
San Diego Padres seems like a good time. Yeah, San Diego Padres, their building's right downtown. You get a nice loft down there. You walk over to the ballpark. You come close to 500, you're probably not getting fired in San Diego. They're pretty laid back around there. Yeah, I don't want that tough job, that hot seat. A nice San Diego Padre. I love the old school uniforms, the brown and that yellow together. Sign me up.
Why not? Oh, you can't do Chicago. But if Chicago was in the mix, would you do the Cubs or the White Sox?
I want to do the Chicago Cubs. The upside to being the Cubs manager is like nothing else in sports. You could win a title with Notre Dame, any other team in sports, and you'll never be as legendary as you will be winning one title. And that's why guys like Theo Epstein and Joe Madden know all they need is one. Yeah. They don't need 4 in 10 years. They need 1 in their tenure.
I'm with you on the Padres. Go down there and just wallow in the mediocrity. Right across the street is the Tilted Kilt down there on Island and K, I believe. And you're so close to Mexico and you got a little money in your pocket. Adelaide's, I see that as the ideal position. All right, coming up, a modern-day warrior wrestles a prehistoric beast. You want to be a modern-day warrior? Hop into the cab of a Ram 1500 Eco Diesel. Climbing hill, hauling trailers, and towing boats. And hey, head down to the gas lamp. Drop by the Tilted Kilt next to the Padres Stadium. Go catch a game. And then go all the way back up to North County because you got the most fuel-efficient half-ton truck on the road. Guts, glory, Ram. We're back here on the Box Score. It is well documented that Jeremy Roenick is a man's man, and today he joined the show after video of him surfaced of him trying to jump on an alligator's back. McLovin, could you ever?
Jump on an alligator's back?
Yes.
Are you crazy? Dude, if I was on a golf course and there was a spotting of an alligator 6 miles away, I'm getting on that cart, going back to the clubhouse, getting in my car. Yeah. You kidding me? I don't even need an alligator. Like, if there's like a gecko on the course, I'm out.
When I first saw the video, I thought, okay, maybe like an alligator passed away, like died.
Yeah.
And he was doing a bit where he's pretending to jump and grab it and wrestle it. And then I saw it moving, like, that's a real alligator. And that's probably the animal I'm most scared of.
Alligators.
They're easy to avoid. Living in Connecticut, they're really easy to avoid.
Not a lot of them here.
Not a ton. But, like Roenick even said, I didn't think of what I was going to do with the alligator.
How do you have no strategy or game plan to just dive on an animal knowing it's probably going to start biting your limbs?
Probably.
Yeah.
All right. Well, JR talked to the boss about his new reptile friend avoiding him for the rest of the weekend's golf tournament.
It was funny because it happened on Thursday, on the first day of the tournament. So we had a practice day, I missed it. The first day of the tournament, I almost got it. So for the next 2 days, I was looking for it, and the next 2 days, it was in the middle of the lake. And I'm like, listen, that's in his habitat. I'm not going in there. There's not a chance I'm going in there. So he didn't come back to the side, so he obviously knew I was lurking around.
Yeah, I don't understand what he's thinking there. I mean, we all know Roenick's a tough guy. You know, it's one thing to be on skates and pads and, get into the occasional fight or getting checked into the boards, but going out of your way to chase down an alligator or prepare over a period of days of what you're going to do, and then to say that, once he had that moment where he feel like he can jump on it and then not know exactly if he's going to wrestle it or shove it into the water or what he was going to do.
Tyler, I got a question for you, because you seem like a pretty sedate guy. It doesn't seem like you're not a risk taker, I'm guessing. We all agree?
Don't like the roller coasters and the...
No, you like a nice, flat, slow progression to death. Now, what do you think is the craziest thing you've ever done in your life? In all seriousness, what do you think is the craziest thing you've ever done in your life? Leave out women.
Craziest thing is it's not that crazy.
What is? So
I never really did anything that crazy. I think I was at the gym once, and I agreed to spot someone that was like this mammoth guy that had like 3-4 plates on each side, and I didn't want to tell him no, and there was like no one else around, and I'm like leaning over this guy, knowing that if for some reason he gets stuck, I don't know how I'm going to get all this weight off.
So instead of offending him and saying no, you decided to risk his life.
Yes.
And that's the craziest thing you've ever done?
I haven't bungee jumped. I haven't robbed any
spotting
or anything like that.
Spotting a dude on the bench press is the craziest.
That was pretty crazy for me. Not going away to college might have been pretty crazy.
No, that's the opposite of crazy.
Yeah, that's a special kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't really. That's about as crazy as it gets for me.
Wow.
All right. Well, I think you should leave the really crazy stuff up to Roenick. Not only is he jumping on alligators, he walked down memory lane with the boss and told him about the stupidest thing he's ever done.
I once got out on top of a moving limousine going about 70 miles an hour and tapped on the windshield of a limousine going 70 miles an hour on the highway. With my buddy out the sunroof holding my ankles.
Wait, so you're hanging over the windshield, looking in, knocking on the glass?
Yeah, and then knocked on the glass.
Yeah,
that was about 25 years ago. And then, that's probably the stupidest thing I've ever done.
It's entirely possible I grew up with Jeremy Roenick's clone or something, or maybe I just didn't realize it was him, because I have a memory littered with things just like that, just impossibly stupid things to do. I've never dove after a living crocodile, and I've never hung out of a moving car, really, like that. But like when you see people doing the running of the bulls, and some idiot gets gored, and you're like, people are like, oh no, what happened to him?
Love that.
I'm sort of like, that's what you get, guy, for messing with animals. You should have left him alone. As much as I like Jeremy Roenick, and as great as he is, and as nice as he is to us, if that alligator turned around and snapped his arm, I would have been like, that's what you get, dude. Don't mess with alligators when they're running around. Like, what are you, an idiot? It's mean, Just leave the thing alone. What do you got to mess with it
It's
for?
true, like most
and
people...
if you get bit by it, that's what you get.
Yeah, if you don't, as a rule in life, if you don't jump and try to tackle alligators, you probably won't get bit by one.
Right.
I'm not an actuary, but I think the tables are in my favor.
Leave it alone.
Paulie, career and badassery considered here. Would you rather be Wayne Gretzky or Jeremy Roenick?
Wayne Gretzky's the great one. When he walks down the street, people go, "Holy crap!" I want to be a tough guy as much as Jeremy Roenick is, but never going to happen. But Wayne Gretzky, he's first ballot, all kick-ass dude.
I think I'd rather be Gretzky too. I mean, think of it. He got to babysit Robin Thicke. How fun was that? All right, stick around. We have a major duel on our hands. A doo-doo on our hands? Duel. I heard that right. Welcome back to Box Score, guys. It was a hell of a week in the NFL. You and your baritone boss battled it out with your FanDuel team. So without any further ado, let's see who has bragging rights for the week. Let's start with the boss, who finishes second to last this week Ouch. DP ran into some bad luck with Matt Ryan. McLovin, is the Falcons' passing game wise to avoid?
Yeah, I think so. I actually just saw a story today on SI.com Fantasy that the Falcons are playing great on the field, but Matt Ryan is not playing great in fantasy. It's a great example. This season is like, you can stink on the field and be really good in fantasy. Blake Bortles, Phillip Rivers, got smoked on Sunday and had a huge score. So it's two different things.
All right, well, with DP finishing second to last, that means that Danette had a pretty bad week, and that Danette was little Seton O'Connor. Seton, it's your second week in a row finishing in last place. After winning in week 2 and 3, the wheels have come off. What the hell happened?
Well, what happened is I tried too hard. And any time that I really put thought into something, I usually fail miserably. And when I should just sort of wing it like I did the other couple of weeks where I'm like, oh yeah, I like this guy, I'll take him. This time I was like breaking down offenses and who's good, whose running game is good versus what a weak running defense, all of this crap that I know nothing about. So it's like, wow, that was pretty dumb. So I think this week I'm going to go back to just straight up gut feeling.
All right.
Go with my gut.
Splitting the group down the middle is Todd Fritz. Toddy Joe, you had 3 guys absolutely go off this week with Ryan Tannehill, Todd Gurley, and T.Y. Hilton. But you also got hosed with negative points from LeGarrette Blount. What happened there?
Negative?
That was awful.
How do you get negative? I honestly didn't know you got negative points.
Yeah, I was following along. I basically must have lost yards or a fumble or whatever it was. But Tannehill lit it up, and I was happy with what the receivers were doing. But I think I had Matt Bryant, who only got me like 4 points. My defense didn't do much. And then seeing LeGarrette Blount give me a negative 0.3.
So Ryan Mallett scored more points than LeGarrette Blount.
Pretty much. Yeah, but by not playing. Well, we all scored more than LeGarrette Blount by having 0. But that would have helped me a lot. I think I would have had a shot at, not necessarily first place, but I think I could have got into second if I would have had a running back with some kind of decent number, negative 0.3.
Yeah, that's horrible, 0.0. All right, and then there were 2, and just as you guessed, the DP show NFL Insider finished second place. That's right, McLovin. With a solid week, but for the 3rd straight week, you have finished a runner-up. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Do you put more pressure on yourself to win, given your level of NFL knowledge?
Oh my God, yeah. I have a lot wrapped up in this because, basically people are judging me out there based on how my score was. Right now, I'm solid second place. It was kind of Fritzy's role before.
That's right, I had 3.
But I keep on coming there in second. I have to admit, second is kind of gratifying. I know it's like I'm in a pretty good mood.
How many seconds in a row can you get though?
Yeah.
And still feel gratified.
Well, I gotta tell you, if there was a certain point last week, I'm like, I gotta be in last place, and then thank God Dante Moncrief for that trash time touchdown to kind of save. So I'll take second. I mean, I'd say this may be a back row thing. We're cool with second.
Well, as long as you can finish at least 1 week in first, which you've done.
Yeah.
And I've had it once. I could live with second.
All right. Well, let's get to this week's champion. Paulie, congrats, my friend. You are riding a 2-week winning streak. Have you figured out the secret?
Well, I didn't recall at all that I won last week, but thank you. I'll tell you, my only strategy this week was to pick my team in under 3 minutes. I did so. On running backs, I took without looking basically at names. I said 2 highest cost running backs that worked out. My kicker, Blair Walsh, scored 20 points. The defense scored 25. So I had 45 points from the throwaway. I went with a low-priced Rams defense, relatively, and Blair Walsh. So I think I finished in some dough. I don't know exactly how much, so that felt pretty good.
All right, well, again, congrats to Paulie, and don't forget to catch our FanDuel Draft Day every Thursday right here on the Box Score. All right, coming up, we're having some bacon-wrapped hot dogs topped on hamburger. All right, but first, hey, you want to make the Ram Heavy Duty taste any better? No, put that on bacon. That's going to make that pork belly taste better. Oh, the Ram Heavy Duty with its best-in-class towing, torque, and horsepower. It does need a break. Guts, glory, Ram. Welcome back to the Box Score. It is Halloween week, and a frightening story is making the rounds. Scientists have linked processed meats, including sausage, hot dogs, and hamburgers, to cancer. Paulie, this is 80% of your diet. I mean, would you rather give up all processed meats that you know and live to 100, or would you have a lifetime supply of brats and sausage and live to a nice 65?
65, that's pretty low, Brock, but I don't want to live to 100 either. Somewhere in between. I'd like to, as moderation, split the difference. Give me like 83 and eat a lot of meats. I found the story pretty interesting yesterday. I'm a big meat eater. I'm a meatitarian, old school. And it seemed like they were saying if you eat meat, you'll get cancer. And then you read the story, and you're like, well, it's processed meats. And, hot dogs, well, not a big shocker there. And bad bacon is full of salt and things like that, added salts. But I wanted to clear up the story because the headlines didn't match the story, as a lot of times it doesn't in journalism. So I thought, we're a guy's show. Let's not kid each other. They did a study back at ESPN, and they said, what percentage of your show is dudes? And dudes eat meat. Women do too, but I thought this was a perfect story for our...
What's interesting about it, though, is that while we're a guy's show, we're not necessarily guys.
No.
And so what we really did was break down organic vegetables and why that's actually the healthier option.
We got the tofu.
We really should do that more.
We got the tofu awfully quickly for a guy's show.
At least Paulie was like,
Paulie, you waving the flag of the guy,
man.
But Dan doesn't even try. Dan's like, well, I got spin class, and I want to take something that's going to be light.
Like, guys, are you kidding me? Nitrates?
Because he came in with 2 kale smoothies yesterday to work.
It's understandable. I'm telling you, there's going to be a day where I, tidy up my diet and probably go more healthy, but, I sure as hell don't want to. It's going to be forced on me by some physician. But I thought it was a fun topic today, and it rolled a bit, and having someone to talk about was cool.
All right, Seton, you've historically been linked with your love for nicotine. Which would you rather be healthy, cigarettes or booze?
Oh, booze. All day. I have a far stronger addiction to booze than I ever did nicotine, so I would much rather I'd drink that all day.
Hey, you said something on the show today about smoking. You don't still smoke, do you? Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, you made a reference. I think you're just talking hypothetically. Smoking's crazy. We all admit that.
Well, that's like my out. It's like you could always justify anything. I've never had a cigarette before, so I could eat piles and piles of sausage. Yeah. Well, no, not true. As Seton said earlier, one does not excuse the other. Not smoking doesn't make the sausage more healthy. But I think I was in the box and I talked about like this stupid idea I have for a diet for myself, which in my head works, and a couple people on Twitter said, hey, that sounds pretty good. I'm not advising you to follow it. I want to be responsible for that.
And well, just to be totally clear, I do have a cigarette here and there. Like if I'm out and having some beers, I'll have a cigarette.
Moderation.
But I don't smoke.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference between having one cigarette every 4 months and...
Got it. I thought you said something on the show. Sorry about that.
No, cigarettes, and I think it's all the additives, which ties into this, because earlier there was a discussion about human DNA being inside of hot dogs, and we launched an I-Team report, and that's actually Seton O'Connor getting thrown into the meat grinder by Intergalactic Performing Arts Guar. Be careful when ordering hot dogs at the ball game tonight, America, because really, who knows? Not kosher.
Yeah, Oscar Mayer, huh? Literally.
Explains a lot.
Yeah, dude. There you go. They're sending me right into the meat grinder, man. That was awesome. That was one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me. No joke. Being on stage with Guar, Odorous, they're beating me up, grinding me up into the meat grinder. That was dude, this is the best day ever, man.
You've arrived.
So sick. Yeah, I love that, man.
All right, rest in peace, Odorous. All right, Fritzy, who's on tomorrow?
We will catch up with Jason Giambi, who we haven't heard from in over a decade. Jessica Mendoza, who was supposed to be on today's show, is expected to help us recap World Series Game 1 tomorrow. We may hear from David Spade as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, gentlemen. We are back tomorrow right here on Audience Channel 239, right here on DirecTV/AT&T. It's AT&T, of course. Podcast is available on iTunes or podcast1.com. Rest in peace, Odorous.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the box score. Holy cow!